So I would rather spend time being productive with a client from day one and beyond. So this is actually the same as the evolution of a deadlift. That's kind of why I drew it there. So the last picture replaced the squat for the deadlift. But all the crap that I'm going through with Andrew Emery right now, if I had him for 3 months, I can tease out these problems and actually end up in a better spot 3 months from now than the approach I have to take now, because I have to clean up all these problems within a workout. So my goal yesterday was to introduce some snatch positions, back squat, overhead press, and then some split squats and some other bodybuilding pressing, like dips or something like that. Once I saw his overhead presses, I couldn't stand him. He did it okay with some of the snatch sequence work. It was a PVC damn pipe though. I got some very light squats in with him. That was the most productive thing I was able to do. Other than that, it was a disaster, and I had to work shoulder mobility shit on the wall. Waste of time. I mean, he was happy, but I know deep down it was a waste of time. So, evolution of the squat. So, real quick, this will help you. Go to the next page. There's CrossFit's breakdown of all the common errors. I love this picture sequence because it does break down. We're going to put this on the wall out there as a reminder. These are all the common squat errors. Think of your clients and who this might be. I mean, I can call them on now. But I numbered this to show. They've got their arguments on why some of this is occurring. I'm using the KISS method to fix this with simple verbal cues and reminding you where in our three-phase model that these problems should be fixed. And you don't need to go through some amazing elaborate sequence that I have to go through with Andrew to pull off these fixes when they're actually worked into our general training cycle. So, number one, let's see, best way to present it. Here's CrossFit's answer to it, and some of them are actually wildly inaccurate. Like, so, where is it? Rolling knees inside the feet. Weak adductors cheat to quad. No, it's actually tight adductors and underactive hip external rotators. That's the knees caving in. So that's where we put the band around the knees, or have them squat. That's why I say squat like a cowboy, butt back, knees out, or have them squat over the bench. It's forcing their knees out. So they have to stand over the bench and then force those knees out, and that's fixing the problem without having to throw all this fancy schmanciness on them. Stand over the damn bench, squat, touch your bench on butt on the bench, stand up. It saves you time and frustration. Miracles for Mike Mark. So real quick, I'll jump back to the evolution each time. So postural position, toe touch to postural, suave squat, leg press. This is where you're teasing out the problem. So if the knees are knocking on a leg press and it's not much weight, how are they going to do under barbell? Horribly. So you need to fix that problem, that mental cue, that reinforcement on the leg press. Squat like a cowboy, butt back, knees out. Knees abducting out slightly, driving through the heels, toes are up. They're learning that quality on the leg press. So when they put a barbell on their back and squat for the first time, it's second nature. They've already practiced this. You've already pushed their leg strength and their ability to push through the ground and spread the floor apart by doing a leg press. Hyperextensions there. That's where the back rounds or the eyes drop. We're working lumbar back strength. It's a crucial piece of the puzzle here, as well as deadlifting. Then the first time they're in three-dimensional space with the dumbbells there, dumbbell deadlift / dumbbell squat. I call it a dumbbell deadlift simply for the mental connection that should be how a deadlift should go. That's the same feel of them putting the bar in their hands and putting their hands over grip, 2 overhand grips there. Dumbbell squat's confusing, then you end up seeing people put dumbbells on the shoulders. I don't like that as much. If I was going to do that, just put a bar on their back. Next piece would be a barbell squat. Once they barbell squat well, then I would show them a front squat, then I would show them an overhead squat. You could go jump in many orders for different reasons, but these body composition clients we're working with, that's the general sequence of operations. Next, if you look at the dumbbell deadlift, and you go to, only difference there is putting a barbell in their hands. So once they've demonstrated enough strength with dumbbells, i.e., what's a barbell weigh? 45 pounds. If they can do 2 25-pound dumbbells, they could probably do a barbell. But what's the point? I mean, if you're stuck at a barbell for 3 sets, it doesn't make much sense. So can they do 40-pound dumbbells? So you might have some progression there with the barbell. See what I'm saying? So you go 45, 55, 65 instead of just 3 sets with the barbell. And that being heavy, because if that's heavy, then the shoulders are probably going to open up, they're going to lean forward and break down. So that's your answer of when to wean them off the dumbbell deadlift. Is that clear? Okay. Then the RDL, more complex motion, but they learn how to RDL on the toe touch to the postural, hyperextension, same motion there. And RDL and stiff leg deadlift are synonymous terms to me. I never have anyone lock the knees out and pull with that back position. They can't lock their hips in place. They can't get an extension of the lumbar spine. It's worthless to me. Yeah, so then those are all the basic pieces to earn your ability to do a snatch or a clean and jerk. Those are the order of operations to get to that point. My goal tonight was to have you squat first, then we're going to deadlift next week, then you guys are going to do snatches and clean and jerk. Okay?
Do you take dumbbell deads to the floor or just like
No, just the mid-shin. Mid-shin. So the cue is always mid-shin, so exactly with the barbell. And that's why we have those technique plates. So when they're deadlifting, I highly prefer, they're only 5 pounds, but you got to consider 45 or 55 pounds. I want them to learn to lift off the ground. So that's why I use the dumbbell deadlift to teach that position, because it's easy. I mean, it's easy to drop the weights down, the center of gravity's back in the heels, and I want that center of gravity back and not leaning forward. That's why they're humping forward, pushing the feet through. That's easier to get that cheat with the dumbbells back around the body. That's why dumbbell deadlift to me is not this here. Dumbbells right there. Well, put a barbell in there. I mean, you know, yeah, it makes sense. People call that there. Just to me, my methodology is not that. But to the side, it's going to help them squat better and deadlift better, or faster, rather. So trying to be consistent with what I'm teaching. So mid shins and then transfer that to the barbell. Okay, so now let's look at the common faults here. CrossFit. We're going to look at CrossFit answer if you want. I like the best thing I like he's saying here is that it's poor focus. And that to me, why do people hate squatting? It's not because they have injuries. It's not that. It's because it's hard work. It's painful. It's the hardest freaking exercise there is to do. Next would be ego, because if you don't have 500 pounds in the bar, it's not as cool, but whatever. Squatting is a functional piece. And the better you squat, the better you're going to barbell curl. Think that through. You know, Pat Mendez never bench presses. The guy I just showed you. But his coach said, he soared him, you're not bench pressing at all, but you'll be able to bench 500 pounds. He never bench presses. He squats every single day. Bench press 500 pounds. It's on that video. Never benches. Steroids induced still. But think about the posture and positions from the ground up that you're building with the squat, how that would transfer to a barbell curl. If you got stick legs and you can't stabilize yourself, you might as well sit your ass down and isolate the bicep anyway, because you'll be swinging that damn thing around anyway, doing calf raises with the bar up. Okay, I'll get to that. Okay, so number one, common faults of the bad squat. Not breaking the parallel plane, number one. My keep it simple, stupid answer to that is, I think you guys have this? Yeah. First of all, verbal cue. Can you squat lower? Lower. That's all you gotta say. If that doesn't work, you know, on some of these you can use your hands to cue it in, because if they're not hearing the word you're saying verbally, come in there and use your hands and fix it to save you time and energy so you don't have to restart the set or take the exercise out. The second to me would be a prayer stretch or the frog stretch, where if it's simply a range of motion problem, I'm not going to do anything crazy, getting them on the ground and all of these unique stretches. I'm going to have them sit down in the rock bottom position of a stretch, of a squat, and teach the bottom of the squat. Right there. Sitting upright, chest up, lumbar spine is erect. Can you wiggle the toes? Prayer stretch. So I'm doing a specific stretch that's going to take 2 seconds to get them a little bit lower in the squat. So verbal cue, physical cue, specific little stretch to get them lower. Takes no time to throw that in. Next, maybe a pause squat or a box squat. Getting down there lower to activate a little bit harder in the bottom might help. But definitely a pause squat. That's why the squat cure phase is there. So you can hit those at 5, 4, 3, 2 on the bottom. Activating the correct muscles in the bottom there will loosen up the tight muscles. They will get a little bit more range there. Yep.
So we just don't count it.
Right.
Just keep counting whatever
Right.
they're on. One,
Yeah.
one, get down, one, get down, down.
Absolutely.
One.
We have some deaf clients, and I've taken the same approach. Doesn't always work for me, but
If it's a range of motion issue.
yeah, absolutely. So count the perfect reps and all that. So if it is a mental thing, you can beat that into them. Finally, I would add the corrective exercise protocols in there, long term, like we're doing, say, John Sandberg. Mike's kind of got some of that stuff in there, but it's more of a roundabout way that's going to eat up more time that I would save that. So can I get it done verbally? Can I get it done with a basic stretch? Can I work a box squat or a pause squat in there and still be productive without having to eat up too much time? Then, let's see, clear? Questions? Okay, the next fault, rolling knees inside feet. This to me is one of the second worst problem next to number 4. But simply, that could be tight adductors. This is very common. A lot of people actually. First of all, again, verbal cue, butt back, knees out. Butt back, knees out. If that doesn't work, the bench straddling over the bench, squatting like a cowboy, forces their knees out so they can't cave. But you should have teased this out with a leg press and the body weight squat in the JTLC in the first place. So that should not ever occur in a barbell squat unless it's heavy. Remember the Chinese guy? That only happened because the damn shit's heavy, but he got his knees right back out. He didn't fight that the whole time. So if you're correctly teaching the suave squat, air squat, the JTLC, and you're doing correct leg presses, that should never ever be a problem. Capiche? If you have to, and the bench doesn't work, then put the band around the knees to get them to abduct and fire the knees outward. Very simple fixes there. That's not working, they have chronic problems. Roll out their IT bands, their glutes, piriformis, yada yada, or I'm sorry, wrong side, adductors. Get that stuff to loosen up, and you're going to have an easier time getting them to squat without any chinks in there. Kinks. Number 3, dropping head. Simple cue. If you can't do this verbally, that was my fault. Sorry. Number 3, there should be a verbal fix for the most part, but doorway stretch is an easy fix for this one. Could be pec minors, traps, you name it. But normally that's just simply getting eyes up, and that's going to cause that fix that problem. Number 4, to me, is the worst fault and shouldn't probably be squatting if this is chronic. But very easily to be fixed. So number 1, verbal cue. What would be good verbal cues to fix that? It's a tricky one.
Say big chest.
Big chest, absolutely.
Picture a string between your neck and your belly button. Stretch the string.
I like that one. Air to the stomach. So I would say chest up first is probably my first reaction. Then breathe air to the stomach, because what that's going to do is inflate the abdomen there. It gets that valsalva in there, creates that balloon full of air, and actually kind of this is a good picture from CrossFit. That effect there, I don't think they're trying to make that their hip, I think. But think of that as a balloon full of air in the stomach. It's actually going to get the spine to extend. But they're probably still not going to have too easy of a time getting down. I will say toes up, actually, which is going to lock them in tighter so they don't fall back that way. But that could cause them to fall back further. The stick in front of the eyes will help them tighten it up. A lot of times that'll do things your words can't say, and they'll just the body finds the answer for it. Torso, toes up. Pull bar into the spine, so this will fix some things. A lot of times people get the bar on there really soft. If you grab the bar, pulling it tight, it's going to get that back to fire a little tighter all the way through. So you think of the back as a steel pull, pushing the butt back real hard, extend the spine, pull the bar through the spine, the rectors will fire much harder. Rectors and traps will fire. Okay. Next, what is the true issue there? What is the problem with this person? What's tight? Hamstrings are very tight. Hip flexors could be tight. More commonly, it would be hamstrings tight though. Flex that out, then you can get that extension in the lumbar spine. What exercise are we doing though that should hit this first before this ever becomes a problem? Thank you, sir. Man, I'm glad I got it. It's hyperextensions. You should tease this out first and know before they get into the barbell that they don't have any kinks in their mechanics. Kinks in their mechanics. You know what I'm saying? So they can get that full extension. That's why on hyperextension is a waste of time if they can't completely extend that spine. You should be walking your fingers down their vertebrae and seeing if something's popped out. Otherwise, dig that sucker in, get them to fire that in. Otherwise, follow along with them. Hold their collarbones, dig into the lumbar spine, pop. You got your push in one direction, pushing down the other. Locks them in. I've never failed with them. Some will have some chronic problems there. Tom's one who's got a degenerative spine disease. I'll probably never get him any further than that. I'm not going to force the issue. But he keeps good position anyway. That's the worst one there. That's very tricky. So a lot of people have that problem. But again, working those kinks out before they ever get to that problem. Number 5, dropping the shoulders. First verbal cue should knock that one out as well. Chest up, eyes up. That's why I don't like rip the toes style squats, because it reinforces that position. And hips are going to shoot. It's going to be hamstring, hip dominant sort of motion. That's why I like RDLs. That's our mighty hip dominant motion. Posture hold position. Doing hyperextensions with the posture, a lot of this is probably new to most of you guys there. But we do, go back to the first picture, first evolution of the squat. See where my arms are there? That's why we don't do hyperextensions right. I'm teaching this way down the road before they ever get there. Scapula back and down, chest up and out. Why? So I can grab a barbell to squat, mostly. But that's still bad posture. Anyway, we're starting to cue that and fix that for bench presses, shoulder presses, you name it. But that should never be a problem. So what are we activating appropriately over time through all these workouts, phase 1 and yada yada, to get them to not have these problems? Next, when we load the hyperextension, first go dumbbells. Why? So you can fire the upper back muscles there to correct the posture there. The barbell's nice, but it will stretch the pec minors in there to get that motion there nicely. However, it doesn't get the activation I'm looking for to have the right strong muscles in there to pull the shoulders back and down, chest up and out. Both can work, but I'd rather just activate with that exercise and then inhibit with, say, some upper wall stretches or doorway stretch there. You follow me? Okay. It's hot as hell. Number 6. Heels off the ground. Alright, so again, this should be worked out much earlier. Toes up. Toes up, toes up, toes up. You should know the problems are other than toes up, but let's see what I got here. Toes up, two-sided calf raises. That's the activate the anterior tibialis and the work ankle mobility from day 1. You'll see how good they are from day 1. That's also why I do calf raises. Not for big sexy calves, but to stretch the ankle out and get sexy calves. So you got 2 things going for you. Likewise, they have bare minimum stretches they're supposed to do every single day. How many of your clients are getting those every single time? Right. Probably not a good track record. So if they're stretching their calves out and training them correctly, week in, week out, chronically, they should get more ankle mobility without having to do any fancy ankle mobility exercise. There'd be a time and place for that, but you hear what I'm saying, you hear the argument. A lot of these problems should be worked out through the system just by going through it if they're doing everything that they're supposed to be doing. But again, if the major problem, there's a lot of corrective exercises working on there. Number 7. What is that? Not finishing the squat, not completing hip extension. To me, this is the least offensive of all problems. If they're stuck there, I really don't give a shit. I would like them to stand a little taller there. That'd be my first cue, stand up taller. A lot of people say drive the hips forward, finish all the way through. I'm on the fence with that. I don't like what a lot of powerlifters do in the deadlift and overextend the hips. To me, that's going to be the wrong direction with it's too much extension in the hips and lumbar spine. I don't trust it so much. Watch John Sandberg tomorrow morning, and you'll understand exactly why that scared you. He finishes with his hips about 4 inches above his shoulders all the time. I'm sitting there literally trying to pull his hips back all the time. I would just hold a band around his hips and pull him back so he doesn't overextend forward. But he's not keeping the extension of his lumbar spine in order to extend his hips forward correctly. Got me? But, verbal cue, see, basically the tight hip flexion problem though, but we have hip flexion stretches working into our normal stretching protocol, right? But with Tom, I make sure he stretches. Tom Major is one that falls into that category. We do a lot of hip flexor stretching day in, day out for his training. That is part of his floating note to make sure he does it every single time, on top of his bare minimum stretching. So you can see that no one should have any problem squatting them, right? Fair to say. So you can see all these common problems, how we fix them, and why we evolve people through this systematic way to get there. Now, your turn. One thing. Yeah, we got plenty of time. This is a theoretical part, and I beat a lot of other stuff to death, and you might want to read over this. It might be something that comes back to haunt you in this in terms of the quiz. One thing I want to mention about the front squat. There's coaches up there that teach only front squatting. Not too jolly on that. Anything and everything works, right? But this is the main argument, I would say. Less low back involvement from the back squat to the front squat. This is not well understood by most strength coaches and professionals. They don't differentiate from static to dynamic recruitment. Static recruitment of the low back is tremendously greater than in the back squat. With the front squat, think about it. You're more erect. Your back muscles are firing hard. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that the stress of the low back is going to be higher in the front squat. Trust me, I do these 6 days a week. Likewise, I've never had erector cramps from back squats like I have from front squats. I'm firing so damn hard. You watch him squat, and you'll start to see this picture come together. He's damn straight, especially as tall as he is. I don't even get that tall, but my erectors are firing so hard that I walk out of there cramping. And if anything, that's going to overextend my spine of all the exercises I do with the front squat. So I got to fight so hard to stand on that bar. Deadlift won't do it, RDL won't do it, and back squat won't do it. I'm in more of a comfortable, natural position to back squat, and will not hyperextend excessively. So if the goal is to take pressure off the back, no good, but neither should be bad. Honestly, both exercises should have no contraindications when they're trained correctly. Honestly, any exercise is dangerous if done incorrectly. Barbell curls, very dangerous if done incorrectly. So are back squats, so are bench press. Not really go with the rest of it. The rest, hopefully, we can be out of here now in the squat. Verbal cues are on the back here. Verbal coaching cues. Now, truly, the problems in back squatting all come into the coaching side of this. That's why I want to go over the squats now, and so you can see what it should look like, how it should sound, yada yada. But these are all different cues that I've used over time. There's plenty more you can use to fix the problem, but test some of these out. And look at the last cue, get mad, get pissed, because ultimately, why do people suck at squatting? Because it's hard. So, at the end of the day, a good squat is about discipline and mental drive. How mad can you get will determine how much you can stand up with, or simply get over the burden of strain or difficulty of the exercise. We don't need to create a bunch of powerlifters here, but we need a lot of people who can squat functionally for quality daily activities of living. Right? Done? Got it? All right. So my bet is that the 3 factors here are ultimately out squat everybody. So, ready?